Baseball isn't just numbers, numbers, numbers.
This game is not being played on computers.
You don't do that with a bunch of statistical gimmicks.
You don't put a team together with a computer.
We're talking weighted runs created plus,
expected WOBA,
his sweet spot rate,
defensive runs above average,
average exit velocity,
barrel rate,
xFIP,
BABIP,
SIERA.
We are
above replacement radio.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio. We're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Giant. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Kern. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing very well today. I am at home right now, back in my summer location, but over today because this was a pretty hectic weekend for me in a good way.
It's pretty awesome.
So we have some breaking news on the program here. This came out just as we were recording. According to several different sources, one being the Atlanta Braves, 2023 National League MVP Ronald Acuna Jr. is out for the year. He tore an ACL today in his game against the Pirates. Actually, the second torn ACL of his career. He tore his right ACL on making a defensive play in 2021, and he tore his left ACL today against the Pirates running the bases. This obviously is never something you want to see in baseball. You know, you want to be able to see the stars doing what they do, and Acuna had gotten into a slow start this season, but unfortunately, it will not continue as he is now out for the year.
Yeah, very unfortunate. It's like deja vu all over again. I remember when we talked about his last ACL injury when it was 2021. We were talking about it over in Voorheesville together. And it was bad then. It's bad now. Fortunately, at least he's been able to direct his career in a positive way after this, and we've already seen him bounce back from an injury like this. So that's all that is a positive, but it's a gut punch to the sport of baseball pretty much when Ronald Acuna Jr. is not out there. It's a gut punch to the Braves and Braves fans, and hopefully he's able to get out there for the start of next year. But just a real bummer that twice in 3 years, or twice in 4 years technically, he's had a huge injury. It's like, imagine if a starting pitcher had Tommy John surgery twice in 4 years. It would be horrible. This is kind of the position player version of that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The Braves have Michael Harris second in center field, Jared Kelnick in left, Marcelo Zuna DHing. I would assume Adam Duvall probably takes his spot in right field for now, unless they decide to trade for someone, sign a free agent. Either way, I mean, there's really just no replacing the production that you were hoping to get from him this year. In terms of, right, I mean, he's the only member of the 40-70 club. So, I mean, quite literally, the production that he's capable of is irreplaceable because it's never been done by anyone else before. Yeah, I mean, again, it sucks for the Braves. It sucks for baseball. That's a guy that you want to see out there as much as possible. But the Braves are going to have to go on without him. They're currently chasing down the Phillies in the division right now. And yeah, I mean, it just sucks to know that he isn't going to be on the field for the rest of the year again. And I mean, it's like you said, it's not like a lingering thing. It's a freak thing that happened to his other ACL. It feels like there's no real way to prevent this other than to slow down the intensity of his game, but that's not something you want to do for a guy like Ronald Acuna.
Yeah, exactly. And I say it's unfortunate just solely because we're not going to be able to see him, because I think the Braves will be kind of fine. I think that the everything else will kind of run somewhat smoothly, and I think credit should be kind of, I guess, retroactively given to the front office to kind of, they really did a good job kind of under the hood supplementing that outfield and getting Adam Duvall and getting Jared Kelnick to kind of replace Eddie Rosario. But because of those moves, that this injury isn't too much of a blow, and they're not going to be giving too many plate appearances to guys who shouldn't be getting them. So that is, I guess, the silver lining to all this, is that the Braves seem to be somewhat prepared. Not that they were anticipating this, but prepared for some sort of outfield injury to happen, because they're in a good spot. Obviously, they're not as good of a spot as they would be if Ronald Acuna Jr. was in the lineup, but nonetheless, they'll be okay. The joke is like Braves are 2024 World Series champs. You kind of set it off air because the Braves have won a World Series in which Ronald Acuna Jr. was not playing for half the year and was not playing in the postseason. So obviously we know what the Braves are capable of, even without Acuna. It just sucks that as baseball fans, we're not going to be able to watch one of the best players in the game and a potential Hall of Famer not play for almost a full year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I lost my train of thought.
All
What was I
good.
gonna say? I had something. I had something on the ready.
Happens all
Um,
the time.
yeah. Oh, dude, during interviews, every single time, like no matter what. Um, wow, I really just completely lost track of what I was gonna say. That's a shame. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't really change the way I view the Braves in terms of their playoff odds. I mean, I did have them win the division this year. There's probably reason to believe they were not going to win the division even with Ronald Acuna Jr. because the Phillies are kind of running away with it and they look really good right now. I still think there's no reason to believe they won't make the playoffs, whether they have him or not. But you look forward to the playoffs because you get to see guys like Ronald Acuna Jr. And for the second time, we might be experiencing a Braves playoff run without him. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing that really sucks about all this.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, what's great about Acuna is like he has so much production, but also his production is supremely entertaining. When you look at like kind of overall production and wins above replacement with him versus Freddie Freeman, like Freddie Freeman wasn't too far off in wins above replacement, but obviously Acuna's style was so entertaining that it kind of took the league by storm. Whereas Freeman was, was excellent at the things he was doing. It just wasn't probably as entertaining as style. And I'm a huge Freddie Freeman fan, so I'm not trying to say that to diss him. But Ronald Acuna Jr. made history. He was a threat every time he was on first base. Threat for extra bases when he was hitting, and threat to, hit home runs. And it resulted in him not only getting those, sort of arbitrary count stats, but also being productive on a rate basis too, which is also extremely entertaining. So, he wasn't going to have that level of year back to back, but he has that in him, and it's obvious because also he's what, 26 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I guess that's also another silver lining is he is at a decent age to recover still, even being
And
as young
still
as
put
he
up
is.
prime years.
Yeah, exactly. He still has prime years left in him. Yeah, it's so unfortunate that this bump in the road is happening for a second time. But I'm not saying anything that's necessarily profound there. It's just kind of a bummer.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Um, yeah, anything more on the Acuna injury?
I think that's all I had.
All right. Yeah, so um away from the Hall of Fame, there are, some things going on in Major League Baseball. I think most notably the Texas Rangers, former defending champions, have been struggling a little bit. They did win today, so it did kind of stop the bleeding a little bit, but we'll see how long that stopped for. But prior to that win on Sunday against the Twins, they had lost 12 out of 14 and dropped to 24 and 29 on the season. What are your thoughts on, what's been happening with the Rangers?
Yeah, I don't know if World Series hangover is like a cheap thing to say, if there's much merit to it, because it's an easy thing to just throw out there. But it feels like that might be kind of something that's going on. The Rangers have an 80 weighted runs created plus as a team in their last 16 games coming into today. And that's the lowest weighted runs created plus in the National League over that, or excuse me, in the American League over that span. So the offense has been struggling quite a bit. Corey Seager has not been. He's been fantastic actually, but they haven't gotten a lot from guys like Josh Smith, who's been in their lineup a lot. From Adolis Garcia, who you mentioned last week, as slightly alarming. Nathaniel Lowe has not done very well. Yeah, I mean, really, the only like consistent hitters they've gotten like great contributions out of have been Seager, and Ezekiel Duran has been solid in this span as well.
Yeah, right. They so yeah, the Rangers over the last 14 games as of Saturday, we'll say, because these stats are not updated, but over the last 14 games, let's pretend Sunday didn't happen. They have the second lowest OPS in baseball. They have the lowest batting average, the second lowest on base percentage, and the third lowest slugging percentage. I will say it went on Baseball Savant. They also have the second unluckiest difference between batting average and expected batting average, which kind of makes sense. When you're struggling this much, it can't be entirely merit. There has to be probably
Yeah, they're
a
not
little bit
striking
of
out a lot.
yeah, not striking out a lot. Although Marcus Simeon, I looked at his expected numbers and he was hitting 175 with a 177 expected batting average in these 14 games. So I'm wondering what's going on with him. It could be a potential like batted ball distribution problem because his strikeout and walk rates look decent. He has a couple home runs in the mix. He's probably just maybe either popping it up too much or grounding it too much. But with the Rangers, it's kind of easy to talk about the World Series hangover effect, and I kind of talked about that briefly before. In our prediction show, how there hasn't really been a World Series winner that's come out the next year with a hot start since the 2018 Astros. But um, but with the Rangers, I think it could be partially World Series hangover, but it also could be exposing the flaws that they already had even last year. Let's not forget they weren't necessarily a dominant team all the way through last year. It's not a situation like the 2018 Red Sox, the 2020 Dodgers. I know they didn't have full year, but like your 1975 Reds. But the Reds or the Rangers they won 90 games. They kind of snuck into the playoffs a little bit. They only got in by a couple games. And they had some problems and they didn't necessarily reinforce that much over the offseason. And their biggest problem was their bullpen, and their biggest problem right now is actually their bullpen. They have their bullpen has a 6.75 ERA over the last 14 games as of Saturday, which is the third worst bullpen ERA in baseball. Just doesn't seem like anything's going right from that end. And they didn't really do a whole lot of reinforcement. It was already kind of shaky last year, but they didn't really add too much to it. So kind of taking the slack on that, and it's cost them a couple games here in the last couple weeks.
Also worth noting, as a staff entirely between the rotation and the bullpen, the Rangers have 4.6 walks per nine since May 8th over the last 16 games. They're the only team in the majors with a walks per nine above 4, and they're at 4.6. So they've had a lot of issues with throwing strikes, and that's obviously something that's going to lead to a lot of base runners and in turn a lot of runs. So that's definitely been major.
Right. You're right. So yeah, with the Rangers, we were both fairly, I think, relatively low on them coming into the season. I don't think either of us had them in the playoffs. And at what point do we
Yeah, I mean
feel
they
like?
do have the
Go ahead.
they do have the fortune of the AL West not being very good as of right now. The Mariners are 27-25, and they are in first place. The Rangers are, I think, only like 3.5 games out right now in second, despite being 4 games under 500.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, they've gotten lucky in that respect. I sent you that photo the other day of what the AL Central looks like and what the AL West looks like, and it's like this should be in reverse, but it's not. It's absolutely
Yeah.
crazy what's going on with the American League West. But
Yeah.
thankfully, yeah, no one is really out of that race. Even not even the A's yet, I wouldn't say. So the Rangers have that fortune. I'm sure they're further out of like a wild card spot than they would be the AL West. That's entirely a possibility, um, but yeah, I still feel somewhat justified being low on the Rangers heading into this year because this was kind of my main concern, and it's been kind of justified, vindicated.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Yeah, we both had them missing the playoffs this year. Um, and I mean, I definitely see a scenario where the Astros would be where they are, but they're climbing back slowly but surely. And yeah, the Rangers are going to need to start getting it together soon because they are lucky to be in a spot where they're 3 games out. But if they keep playing like this, like it's not going to last.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm curious, obviously, I guess the trade deadline isn't close, but I think it's closer than a lot of people are sort of realizing right now. Teams are basically have 2 months to make a decision on what they're going to be doing. And I'm kind of wondering where the Rangers will go. They were very aggressive last year. I imagine the dependency of their aggression will lie in if those other teams kind of pull away in the AL West.
Yeah, I mean the Mariners are, they have to get that offense going, which has kind of been the root of their struggles. Anytime they've been struggling for the last few years, the Astros, they feels like a ticking time bomb before they start, winning a lot of games and pulling themselves ahead of many other teams. The A's are, they're fun because they're not that bad. The Angels are the Angels.
True. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep,
Um, so yeah, obviously the Rangers, yeah, I think in I guess the TLDR of it is, despite the Rangers winning the World Series last year, they were a pretty flawed team. They just happened to dominate in the playoffs. But they lacked bullpen depth. They behind a couple starters, they kind of lacked some starting depth, and obviously they lost Montgomery over the offseason, and Max Scherzer being injured right now does not help either. So just some stuff is sort of being exposed, um, and yeah, I guess we saw it coming. I'm not sure the rest of the I'm not sure all of the baseball world necessarily saw it coming, but they're a winning streak away from taking that first place spot. So it's
for
it's hard
sure.
to talk negatively for too long about them. Um, yeah, anything more on the Rangers?
I think that's all I had.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, now we will get into players to highlight before um the prized Savant trivia game. But now we will start with the lows so that we conclude with the highs for players to highlight for our Sunday, May 26th, 2024 edition of Slightly Alarming Statistics. He's been barreling up the ball way less.
He's not missing bats. He's not getting the ball on the ground, and people are hitting it in the air more.
It's been so bad. He is getting a
Slightly alarming.
All right, so for my slightly alarming, I'm talking about a guy from another struggling team. We talked about recently, talking about Justin Turner of the Toronto Blue Jays, because since May 5th, he is slashing 082, 151, 102 for just a 253 OPS, a negative 23 weighted or created plus, and minus 0.8 FWAR. Among the 185 qualifiers in the span, he ranks dead last, everything I just mentioned. Every stat that I just mentioned, he ranks last in. So he's been, by rate stats, the worst hitter in the league since May 5th. Now, before this span, Justin Turner had an average exit velocity of 89.2 miles per hour, and in this span, it is down to just 84.2 miles per hour. So he's lost 5 miles an hour of average exit velocity, and that's never a good thing at all. One thing that we learned about Justin Turner earlier this year is that he had one of the lowest bat speeds in the league. He is first percentile. His average bat speed is 66 miles an hour. And he was down there with like Luis Arraez, Miles Straw, Nico Horner, like some of the Stephen Kwan, like a lot of the contact heavy hitters. And he was kind of the standout guy being like, oh, well, Justin Turner has a lot of power. He hits a lot of home runs, and he doesn't swing the bat hard. Well, one thing that I kind of noticed is that in terms of a league-wide standpoint, I'm not saying that this is what Justin Turner is, but from a league-wide standpoint, when you have an average bat speed that's that low, you actually want to go the opposite way. And Justin Turner's never really been known for pulling the ball. He hits a lot of his fly balls to the opposite field, actually. And he's found a lot of success in that throughout his career. But throughout this season, for the sample that we have, swings under 70 miles an hour have produced a 270 batting average when balls are pulled and a 314 batting average when they're hit to the opposite field. This percentage is roughly the same, but it kind of makes sense because, if you aren't getting your bat through the zone quickly, you're probably going to be a little late on it, and you're probably going to push it the other way. Whereas if you pull it, it's probably not going to produce a lot of exit velocity. Justin Turner's pull rate in this span is 58.1 cents. That is the sixth highest among the 275 hitters with at least 25 batted balls in this span. And he is hitting 080 on pulled balls and slugging just 120. So what I'm saying here is Justin Turner, he's not swinging the bat quickly because that's nothing against him. That just isn't really what he does, or at least it's not what he has done this year. And he had a lot of success early this year, but pulling the ball more has kind of been proven to actually hurt him because of his bat speed and everything like that. Before this span as well, Justin Turner had a ground ball rate of 25.6%, and in the span, it is up to 44.2%. It is up almost 8%, and his fly ball rate has also gone down from 34.1% to 23.3%. So Justin Turner, he's hitting the ball a lot softer. He's hitting it on the ground a lot more. He's pulling it a lot more, which normally I say is a good thing, but this is actually to his disadvantage. Because of that, he has been one of the worst hitters in the league throughout the month of May.
Yeah, Justin Turner.
Slightly alarming.
Yeah, free agent addition for Toronto. He was, I think some people were a little bit sore in Boston about losing him, but I guess, it's not the worst thing in the world right now. My slightly alarming, fitting that I am wearing the Orioles orange. Shout out to Saber 50 that gave me this free t-shirt. Shout out to Saber 50 for giving me the most comfortable shirt I own. I don't think that was their intention.
Dude, that is so real. That is so real. I 100% agree with you. That shirt is so soft. It's comfy.
I'm wearing this because I know I'm remote tomorrow, so that I can wear it for a longer period of time. My slightly alarming is an Oriole. It is Cedric Mullins, who has really, he's really been struggling. It's not, I don't think this really,
I've noticed.
I don't think slightly really is a justified word for it. You kind of have to go deeper than that. But Cedric Mullins, in his last 26 games as of Saturday, is hitting 133 with a 363 OPS. And out of 213 hitters with 80-plus plate appearances in the span, his average is second lowest, on-base percentage is second lowest, slugging is the lowest, and OPS is the lowest. And out of 300 hitters with 200-plus pitches seen in this span, his expected batting average, expected slugging, and expected WOBA are all the lowest. And that's 300 hitters with 200-plus pitches seen. He's seen over 300 pitches. So he's still the lowest, even when his qualifier is brought down. Part of this has to do with him not making as much contact. His strikeout rate has gone from 23% before the span to 28% in the span. Also hitting the ball softer, with his average exit velocity going from 90.0 miles per hour to 87.1 miles per hour. But the most glaring thing is the batted ball distribution in terms of angles. His line drive rate has gone from 27% before the span to 10% in the span. Out of 224 hitters with 50-plus batted balls in the span, Cedric Mullins' line drive rate is the lowest. His sweet spot rate has gone from 37% to 16% out of 224 hitters. His sweet spot rate is the lowest. And his pop-up rate has gone from 6% to 22%. And out of 224 hitters, his pop-up rate is second highest. Along with that, ground ball rate has gone up as well, going from 37% to 43%. So Cedric Mullins, he actually had a pretty solid start to the year. made me feel like, I'm kind of buying into his resurgence, maybe not to 2020, maybe not to 2021 level, but figured maybe he could have a potential 4 to 5 win season. But he is playing his probably the worst baseball of his, professional life right now, unfortunately. And for right now, he's going to get a
Slightly alarming.
all right, so that
Yeah,
is it.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Cedric Mullins, of course, was on your F4 team for a brief period of time, and he replaced another slightly alarming of yours in Nolan Jones for your outfield 2 spot. And I, update the league every day. He had 0.9 F4 when he was picked up by your team. He left with 0.1, so he lost 0.8. And as he kept going down, I kept thinking to myself, like, was he really 0.9? Like, did I mess that up? Like, he couldn't have gone down that much in the time. And no, he did. That's real. I had it correct.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets his 2023 championship ring, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to stay with the team in
Yeah.
in 2024. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's like that position has been an absolute disaster. It's historians will be talking about it. Now on to a segment in which we talk about players that are outperforming their expectations right now for our Sunday, May 26th, 2024 edition of How About That?
He's striking out less, walking more, and he's also making better contact.
Turning into a strikeout machine just out of nowhere.
He's been excellent all around this year.
And he is getting a...
How about that?
Yeah, I can do this in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. For my How About That, I am talking about a guy that was mentioned in my first edition of Savant Trivia. I watched him hit a home run as a part of this span, and it's going in my How About That. I'm talking about Dylan Moore from the Seattle Mariners, who has played really nice baseball since May 7th. Coming into today, since May 7th, he is slashing 315, 424, 704 for an 1128 OPS and a 214 weighted runs created plus, along with a 1.1 F4. Among the 182 qualifiers in this span, Dylan Moore ranks 11th in OBP, 4th in slugging, 5th in OPS, 4th in weighted runs created plus, and tied for 7th in F4. And a lot of this because he's been making more consistent contact, because his strikeout rate has gone from 27.5% before the span to just 18.2% in this span. His whiff rate has also gone from 25% before the span to 15.6% in this span. He's cut it by almost 10%. His chase rate has also gone from 18.9% before this span, which was already really good, and he's brought it down even further to 15.9% in this span. That is the 6th lowest chase rate among the 173 hitters with at least 100 outside pitches seen since May 7th. And also during this span, his ground ball rate, he has a ground ball rate of 23.3%. That is the 9th lowest among the 263 hitters with at least 25 batted balls in this span. And 69.8% of his batted balls have been either fly balls or line drives. That's exactly what you want. He's been doing it 70% of the time. That is the 7th highest rate on that same list of 263. Lastly, his squared up rate on swings has gone from 20% before the span to 27% in the span. So he is making much better contact. He's making more contact, and because of that, Dylan Moore has been maybe a top 5 hitter since May 7th.
Yeah, Dylan Moore.
How about that?
Dylan is doing more at the...
Wonderful work there. My How About That is coming from the Bronx. I feel like anytime there's an opportunity to do a Yankee, you just got to do it, because there's so many high-profile guys, so it's a little bit harder to find How About That. But I'm talking about one of the guys who has made the Garrett Cole injury not a disaster for the Yankees. It is Luis Gil. Overall this year, 10 starts, 2.11 ERA, 2.93 FIP, and 2.78 expected ERA. And in his last 5 starts, dating back to the start of May, he has a 0.59 ERA and 2.25 FIP. Out of 83 overall qualifiers this season as of Saturday, his ERA is 8th lowest and expected ERA is 13th lowest. He has a 32% strikeout rate, and out of 81 qualifiers on the Fangraphs live stats, his strikeout rate ranks 4th. Also, his whiff rate is in the 82nd percentile, and contact-wise, his hard hit rate against is in the 94th percentile. Along with that, has a 13.3% pop-up rate, and out of 136 pitchers with 100 plus batted balls against in the span, his pop-up rate is the 5th highest. Luis Gil is doing this all using his four-seamer 56% of the time, and has a 151 average against and 245 slugging against that four-seamer. His secondary pitch, or his primary, that's more a bit of an oxymoron, but his primary secondary pitch is his changeup, which he uses 27% of the time, where batters are hitting 130 and slugging 152 off of it, along with an 80.6 mile per hour average exit velocity against that changeup, which contributes to that 152 slugging for sure. So yeah, Luis Gil has been a major factor in the Yankees rotation, and we did not really anticipate it at all. But he has been a real pleasant surprise in the Bronx, and that's why he's getting a. All right, so that shall do it for.
Yeah, he's been tremendous.
Yeah. That shall do it for players to highlight. Now on to Savant Trivia. Excited for a new game.
Yes, it is. It is Savant Trivia. It is my turn to test Chris. And this one's going to take a while. A lot of it will be done off camera, though. So, Chris, I am going to put 15 minutes on the clock. And I'm going to send you, I'm going to email you something right now so that you have a little document to go off of. But you are going to name the pitcher on all 30 teams that you think has thrown the most 100 mile per hour pitches in the StatCast era, going back to 2015. So I'm going to send you this email right now with a list of all the teams, and you will have 15 minutes to think of who you think has them, who has thrown the most 100 mile per hour pitches since 2015. So did you receive my email?
Let me go on my computer here. Gmail. Different Gmail I need to go to. There we go.
All right.
All right. So would you like me to try to type them out, or?
Yeah, no. So I'm gonna put 15 minutes on the clock. We're gonna come back. I'll probably just leave the call, and then we'll come back. I'll text you when time is up, and yeah, we will. And then you will, and I'll explain the rest of the rules further once that's done. But right now, you have 15 minutes to just name who you think has thrown the most 100 mile per hour pitches for each team since 2015.
All right, sounds good.
All right. All right, it has been 15 minutes. Chris, how are you feeling about your answers?
Not great. I gave a lot of fillers,
Okay.
ones that I don't really believe in, and I did not put a Rockies pitcher because I sort of ran out of time and
All right,
couldn't
well,
think of one.
that's not encouraging. That's not encouraging. But lucky for you, we do have 5 lifelines that you can utilize. You cannot use any 2 lifelines on the same team, but I'll go over them. The first lifeline is a skip. You can use that to just bypass an entire team, and you get a free 1 point for that. And by the way, I forgot to mention, obviously some of these teams are a lot easier or harder than others, as I'm sure you noticed. I'm sure there's some that you got in 2 seconds and some that you struggled with. So I graded each team's answer on a 1 to 5 scale based on difficulty. Some teams are worth 1 point because they're easy. Some teams are worth 5 points because they're really hard, and there's a lot in between. So I figured I would make it maybe a little more fair and make some teams' answers worth more than others. So you get a skip, which is an automatic 1 point. Also, for another one, you get 2 guesses. You can guess 2 players. I'm sure you have one already for each team, but you can think of a second one if there's another guy you had in mind. The way that this one works is you can use this one once, but if you guess it correctly on the first try, you get full credit for that question, and you get an additional 2 guesses. It's like an MLB challenge, or you have one, but if you win, you get another one. If you get it right on the second guess, you get half credit. So if it's a 4-point team and you get it on the second try, you get 2 points for getting that one correctly. The third lifeline is active plus are they still on the team? So I will. So if you can ask, I'll be like, I'll tell you if they are still active and if they are still on the same team or not. The fourth one is a Chris custom hint. So you get to ask any question to me about the answer before logging something in. And the only thing you can't do is it this guy or who is it? Like anything that pertains to that, but you can ask any question regarding that. And the fifth and final lifeline is I reveal who threw the second most pitches for that team if that knocks somebody off. So the goal, I think that the target goal is 20 points. That's just me completely guessing, but those are your 5 lifelines. And we'll start with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Diamondbacks was a tougher one. So I'd like to ask who threw the second most for the Diamondbacks.
Okay, I gotta actually go look that up. Hang on. And the guy with the second most pitches on the Diamondbacks at 100 miles per hour since 2015 is Carlos Vargas with 11.
All right, my Diamondbacks guess is Archie Bradley.
Archie Bradley is not the answer. He did not hit 100 with the Diamondbacks. The answer is a guy that is currently on the team, Justin Martinez. He is a reliever. I believe he made his debut this season or last, and he has 177 pitches at 100 miles an hour.
All right. All right, moving on to the Braves.
On to the Atlanta Braves. And that was, by the way, that was a 4-point question. So that was a difficult one.
That's fair.
Yeah, now on to the Braves.
My guess is Spencer Strider there.
Spencer Strider was actually second. This was a 5-point question. The answer is Mauricio Cabrera. Yeah, I would never have gotten that one. I thought about making it where you just win the game if you get that. But that is a 5-point question because I would never have gotten Mauricio Cabrera.
That's wild.
He threw 353 pitches above 100 miles an hour.
What the hell?
All right, over 2, but we got the Baltimore Orioles coming up.
I have Felix Bautista there.
Felix Bautista is correct. He has thrown 498 such pitches since 2015 and also just since 2022. That is a 1-point question because that one was pretty straightforward. But hey, you're on the board. So Chris has 1 point.
Red Sox, I'm guessing Joe Kelly.
Joe Kelly is correct. He threw 245 such pitches. Because of the hometown team, that is a 2-point question. So you are up to 3 points right now.
That's fair enough. All right, Cubs, I will likely use a lifeline. Yeah, Cubs.
Okay.
What are the 4 that I have remaining again? I'm sorry.
You have a skip. You have a two guesses. You have a Chris custom hints, and then you have what was the other one? Active / on the team still or not.
Is this player no, what were the first 2 that you said? I'm sorry.
Skip and 2 guesses.
Okay, I'll take I won't use a lifeline. My Cubs guess is Craig Kimbrell.
Craig Kimbrell is not correct. The answer is Aroldis Chapman. He played on the Cubs for 2 months, but he is still his 301 pitch. By the way, that's wild. 301 100 mile per hour pitches in 2 months. That is the answer. That was a 2-point question. So now the White Sox.
Yeah, White Sox.
This is hard. Like a lot of these are hard.
Yeah, for sure. White Sox. Is this player still on the team?
This player Please hold. He is not on the team. He's in a different organization, actually currently on the 60-day IL. But he is pitching in another organization currently.
Um,
And I'll add to it, he was on the team last year.
is it Liam Hendricks?
It's not Liam Hendricks. It is Gregory Santos. That was a 4-point question.
Fair.
Is that one's tough. I went through this on my own like 2 weeks ago. I did not get that one. I think I said Michael Kopech, and he was like second by a very close amount.
Yeah, my initial guess was Kopech, but he's on the team.
Yeah. So the next is the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, I got Emmanuel Clase for that.
Yeah, Emmanuel Clase is correct. 906 100-mile-per-hour pitches. That is a 1-point question. So you're up to 4 points. And we are on to the Cincinnati Reds.
I got Hunter Green.
Hunter Green, believe it or not, second place. Aroldis Chapman, despite only playing 1 year with the Reds in the StatCast era, still has more, which I also thought it was Hunter Green. Aroldis Chapman was the 3-point question because I also thought Hunter Green would have been the answer, but Aroldis Chapman still has more. He has thrown 503 pitches above 100 miles per hour, despite only having played in 2015 for the Reds.
All right. Rockies, I'm going to skip.
Rockies, skip is. Do you want to just throw out a guess just for fun?
No, just who ended up with the most?
It was, I wouldn't have gotten this one. It was a 4-point question. Carlos Estevez with 70.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So you're up to 5 points now because the skip is an automatic 1. And the next is the Tigers.
I got Gregory Soto.
Gregory Soto is correct. So that is a 2-point question. You are up to 7 points.
Noted all-star.
Yeah, the good one. Gregory Soto with 120.
Yeah, noted multiple-time all-star Gregory Soto. My Astros guess.
Good guess.
My Astros guess, I'm pulling deep here. I got Josh James.
I also guessed Josh James. It's not him, unfortunately. The answer is Ken Giles with only 46. No, that was I also guessed Josh James when I did this on my own. Only with 46, though. Ken Giles, that was a 3-point question. Ken Giles had 46.
Royals, I have Josh Stumont.
That is a good guess. Unfortunately, it was not. It was my guy, Carlos Hernandez. One of my famous player to highlight flops of all time. I would have made it a 2-point question for myself. I made it a 3-point question for you since I'm kind of the Carlos Hernandez guy. He's done 239 100-mile-per-hour pitches.
All right. What lifelines do I have left?
You have the Chris custom hints. You have 2 guesses, and you have active / on the team. Oh no, wait, no, you used that one already, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or no? Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yeah, you used the skip.
For Angels, can I get the first letter of the first and last name for the pitcher?
BJ.
Ben Joyce.
Ben Joyce is correct.
Here's my initial guess.
He threw 131. Oh, no. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, it's a 4-point question, so you're up to 11 points.
All right. Yeah, good.
Yeah, 131 pitches. Yeah, good one. Dodgers.
I got Bobby Miller.
Good guess. It is one of your favorite pitchers. It is Bruce Dark-Gratterall.
Oh man, yeah.
Bobby Miller. Yeah. Bruce Dark-Gratterall has thrown 387 pitches above 100. He was a 2-point answer. Marlins.
I have Sandy Alcantara.
Sandy Alcantara is incorrect. This was a 5-point question. I would have gone crazy if you got Teheran Guerrero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tehran Guerrero has thrown 384 pitches above 100. Yeah, I would not have gotten it. I think I said Everett Cabrera when I did this actually. Yeah, there. I will tell you, there are no more 5-point answers. The two were the Braves and the Marlins.
All right, lovely. What do we got?
Yeah,
Twins.
so the next team is the Twins.
I have Yohan Duran.
Johan Duran is absolutely correct. 911 pitches. That's a 1-point answer.
Great.
So you're up to 12.
Brewers. I don't know if this guy ever.
Brewers.
Yeah, I don't know if this guy ever hit 100, but I threw out a guess for Corey Knebel.
Corey Knebel is not correct. I don't know if he ever hit 100 or not. The correct answer is Abner Uribe, currently on the team. Yeah, and Abner Uribe was a 3-point answer. Real quick, you still have the 2 guesses, and you still have. Is that it? Yeah, you still have the 2 guesses, and that's the only lifeline you have left.
Okay.
And now we're on to the Mets.
Mets, I am gonna guess Edwin Diaz.
Edwin Diaz is incorrect. It is Jacob deGrom. The Mets was a tough one because Edwin Diaz, Jacob deGrom, and Noah Syndergaard were all within 100 of each other. Jacob deGrom had 307. Edwin Diaz, I believe, had exactly 207, I think. Yeah, so Jacob deGrom was correct there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But now on the other side, yeah, the next one is the Yankees.
I got Aroldis Chapman for that.
Aroldis Chapman is correct. 1,155 pitches. That's as 1-point answer as it gets. So yeah, you're up to 13 points now, and next is the Oakland A's.
Yeah, it's this is maybe recency bias, but I went with Mason Miller there.
That's correct. Mason Miller is the correct answer. 208. He's actually at first by a long shot, so I made him a 1-point answer as well. So you're now up to 14 points. 20 is the mark, so you're not on a bad pace right now. The next team is the Philadelphia Phillies.
My guess for Phillies, he's been on the team I think a couple years. I went with Jose Alvarado.
Jose Alvarado's correct. 474 pitches, a 1-point answer. Yeah. So you're up to 15. We should probably reinvite soon, by the way.
Yeah, I'll hit the other Pennsylvania team first.
All right.
My
Pirates.
guess is Paul Skeens.
Fair guess. I like the recency bias. It's not the answer. I don't blame you for not going with this guy. It's a very unfortunate answer. The answer is Felipe Vasquez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 3-point answer. But I will admit, if you put that and we're wrong, I would have felt real bad about that.
Now we're on to.
All right, so next is the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, San Diego. Yeah, another tough one. Actually, I put in an initial guess, and I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna guess Robert Suarez.
You want to do? Robert Suarez is not correct. Did you want to do 2 guesses, or did you want to just save the lifeline?
I'll save it because I'm not confident in the other guess.
Okay. Yeah, Robert Suarez is not correct. The answer is actually Andres Munoz. He did play for the Padres and was traded to the Mariners. I have him in as a 4-point answer for the Padres.
Yeah,
he threw 139. Hit through 139 100-mile-per-hour pitches as a member of the San Diego Padres.
Fun fact: I did not know he pitched for the Padres ever.
That's valid. Honestly, I had kind of forgotten until I saw that he was number 1 for them. Next, we have the San Francisco Giants.
My guess there is Camilo Doval.
Camilo Doval is correct. 454. That is a 1-point answer. So you're now up to 16 points, 4 away from the target. And next is the Seattle Mariners.
My guess there is also Edwin Diaz.
Ooh, wrong on Edwin Diaz twice. Wrong on Andres Munoz twice. 310 for Andres Munoz.
Hmm. Tough.
She did have that as a 1 point answer.
Um, yeah, I probably just wasn't thinking enough about him. Um,
Yeah. All right. St. Louis Cardinals.
Jordan Hicks.
Okay. Yes, Jordan Hicks, 1,583. I mean that's almost a 0 point answer, but yeah, no, that is correct. 17 points. You still have the two guesses lifeline. 4 teams to go. Tampa Bay Rays.
My guess for Tampa Bay Rays is going to be Pete Fairbanks.
Pete Fairbanks is correct. 88. And that is a 3 point answer that brings you to 20 points. Chris Gianta has won the Guess That Flamethrower game on this edition of Savant Trivia. Let's see if we can get to 25. Let's see if we can get to 25. 3 teams left, 3 points for Pete Fairbanks. You threw 88. This is all coming in today. I don't know if he pitched today or not, but no, that is correct because there are a lot of Rays potential answers, but Pete Fairbanks was the leader in the clubhouse. All right, so
Yeah,
Texas Rangers.
I picked Fairbanks because I think he's been long tenured enough. That's kind of why I went with him. Rangers guess, if he did it for the Cubs, I'm gonna guess he may have been able to do it for the Rangers. I'm guessing Aroldis Chapman.
Aroldis Chapman is correct. 120 100-mile-per-hour pitches for the Rangers. That is a 3 point answer. You're up to 23 points with 2 teams to go. I'm just going to say it. Both these teams are 4 point answers. So we could be looking at 31 points on the board, max.
Okay.
And you still got the 2 guesses. You still got the 2 guesses lifeline.
All right, I'll use the 2 guesses on the Blue Jays because I don't really have too many on the Nationals. I was very not confident in the Nationals one. First guess for Blue Jays is gonna be Jordan Romano.
Ooh, the answer. Okay, yeah, it's not Jordan Romano.
Second guess is gonna be I don't know. I guess that guy didn't have enough time with the team. Oh man.
So you can go for half credit here.
Second guess. I'm trying to think. Oh wait, I'm gonna guess Roberto Osuna.
Roberto Osuna is not correct. It was Jordan Hicks.
Oh,
He
wow.
played for the Blue Jays very briefly last year and threw 97 pitches of at least 100 miles an hour. That was a 4 point answer. And yeah, you are down to the last guess. It is the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna get this. I'm taking a Hunter Harvey.
Hunter Harvey is correct with 39 pitches at 100 miles per hour. That is a 4 point answer. 27 points is our final. Chris, heck of a job today.
Thank you. As the saying goes, they had me in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. But
yeah,
I think we finished strong. That's good.
No, that was a
confidence
great. I mean,
booster.
Hunter Harvey as a 4 point answer.
Yeah.
I mean, like only 39 pitches. I think the least of any number one.
Yeah,
But
shout out to
yeah,
my
hey, that's a good finish. 27 points.
shout out to my I think 2023 Nats player to watch, and I knew his fastball velocity was high.
Yeah, my 2020 Orioles player to watch.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so another fun edition of Savant Trivia. Yeah, the target was 20 points. I thought about making it 15, but I was like, you know what? No, I think 20 is attainable. And you got to 27.
Yeah, I was
So that's a really solid performance. If you graded yourself at home, let me know how you did. I don't know how much I would have gotten because I did this. I created the grading system today, and I did this by myself like weeks ago. If you got Teheran Guerrero or Mauricio Cabrera and you didn't,
yeah.
you just didn't. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
not
I thought about making those two, just like you win the game automatically if you get those either one of those two.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the It's like what is it? Can jam, where if you get it through that center spot, the game's over.
Listen. I was a can jam master the year that I graduated high school because I went to so many graduation parties and I was socially awkward and the only thing I knew was go play can jam. And at my graduation party, I played exactly one game of can jam. I threw one frisbee and slotted it and left, and that was my day.
Yeah, that's just a lovely.
It's like having one plate appearance and having a 5,000 OPS.
Yeah,
That was my day.
that's just lovely. That's a harrowing experience there. And that does it for Savant Trivia. Yeah, and that shall do it for this installment of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you're listening on an Apple Podcast or Spotify, want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter, @Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram, @Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram @Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next time where we will be talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball. Once again, see you then.
This conversation is over.